If you've been in the hobby for more than a couple of months, I think you'll agree. Things feel different right now. Products can be hard, if not impossible to find, singles are not the same price as they used to be, and if you're in the market for high-end cards, that can get out of hand fast. For better or worse, the boom isn't dying, it's maturing. The people still here aren't just tourists anymore. Many are collectors who've weathered the hype and are now figuring out what this new era actually looks like. And here's the thing, if you don't know how to navigate it, you might end up overspending, and worse, feeling disappointed in where your collection ends up. So in this video, I'm going to show you the new way to collect Pokemon cards in 2026. How to adapt to our new environment, stay under budget, and build something you're genuinely proud of. I'm gonna start with something I don't think has ever been true until this year. But before we get there, I'm not one of those people who says you should never spend above MSRP on Pokemon products. It's your money, you should spend it however you want. Now, supporting obvious scalpers and shady online resellers, yeah, that feels pretty awful. But your local game shop, if there's finally a moment where they can breathe a little and make things work, I have no problem supporting that. All of that to say, buying sealed Pokemon products right now is tough, and it has been for a while. But here's the thing, I don't think that means you have to give up on sealed product entirely, because even though prices are up, there's something the Pokemon Company has started doing that makes buying ETBs and booster boxes so much more worthwhile. It's the promos. Not the usual just okay promos we've had for decades. We've finally started to get promos that look and feel like premium chase cards. Take the Prismatic Evolutions Super Premium Collection EVSIR, or the Mega Evolutions Enhanced Booster Box Bulbasaur IR, and even this Victini from the one-off collection box. Those cards are gorgeous, and they each feel like chases from the sets themselves. So these days, whenever I'm looking to buy sealed product, that's the first thing I look for. Is there a promo that already feels like a win? Because nothing feels worse than opening an entire booster box and walking away with nothing you wanted. But a guaranteed hit that you'd be proud to add to your binder or even wall display, that changes everything. So if I'm buying packs to open, I make sure I'm not leaving 100% of the experience up to chance. I want at least one card guaranteed that I already know I like. We're gonna stay on the sealed products topic for just a minute longer, because I've said in past videos that when the market gets this crazy, it's better to just buy singles. And that's still true, I still completely believe that. But let's be honest, so much fun in this hobby specifically is cracking packs. Slotting a card into your binder just feels different when you were the one who pulled it. Problem is, trying to chase specific cards right now is really expensive. So how do you scratch that itch without blowing your budget, and at the same time, making sure the opening experience is actually a good one? The approach my wife and I have started taking is really simple. We make opening packs a special occasion. There are a ton of easy ways to do this. Maybe you save some sealed product and crack it on a holiday weekend, during some time off work, or even on your birthday. Or maybe friends are visiting who are also into the hobby. Sharing the experience makes it so much more fun, and honestly, so much more memorable. It even makes the higher price tag sting just a little bit less. Now, I've said it before, and I'll say it again. My pack opening luck is absurdly bad. I opened half a box of Journey Together, and my only pull, I'm not kidding, was this Dun Dunsparce. It's gotten to the point where it's almost funny. Almost. But here's the upside. I know what to expect whenever I open packs. A whole lot of nothing. So if I'm gonna crack sealed product, I go out of my way to make sure the experience will be fun, regardless of what I pull. I turn it into family time with my wife and my baby. Or I use it as an excuse to bring a new friend into the hobby. More recently, I've even gone the route of fumbling through some YouTube live streams. They're pretty embarrassing, but we've had a lot of fun with it. The hits are never great, but the experiences always are. And when you pair that with my earlier point about guaranteed promos, it really does become a win-win. All of that said, if you do still want to take a box straight to the face, I'm not gonna stop you. I still do it myself on occasion. But sparingly, of course. That is, until all the channel sponsorships start to roll in. Who's there?
Your, first channel sponsor.
I can tell you from personal experience that the best way to collect trading cards in 2026 is with the Collector app. I've personally been using Collector for well over a year now to build, sort, and track my own collection. I keep separate portfolios for Magic, Yu-Gi-Oh, and of course Pokemon. But no matter which game you collect, they've got you covered. I love being able to see my entire collection at a glance, and always know exactly how much my small cardboard empire is worth, even though I'm never selling. So whether you're just getting started or you already have a collection built out and want a better way to manage it, Collector makes the whole process so much easier. I'll have a link in the description and a QR code on screen if you want to give it a try. Alright, back to the video. A lot of the points I'm making in this video boil down to one idea: being more intentional about how you interact with the hobby. Especially if you're newer to Pokemon collecting, it's so easy to get caught up in the hype cycles. A shiny new card hits your feed and suddenly you've blown your entire month's budget trying to pull it, or even buying it outright. But the longer you're in the hobby, the more you understand one thing: everything's shiny. Everything looks amazing, and at one point or another, you'll want all of it. Or at the very least, more than your wallet can handle. That's why now, more than ever, refining your goals is so important. There's one very specific strategy that's worked for me. But first, let's talk about all the directions you can go. I mentioned hype cycles a minute ago. Moonbreon had its moment, and more recently, cards like Bubble Mew and Mega Charizard have taken over. So you might expect me to say, ignore the hype, just collect what you love. But what if what you love is Bubble Mew? Sure, part of it is the artwork, part of it is that Mew might genuinely be one of your favorite Pokemon. But another part of it, let's be honest, is that everyone's chasing it. And it feels cool to own something that so many people want and value. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with riding the hype train every once in a while. Because very often, those cards, while expensive, do retain their value, and often even go up over time, if that's something you care about. Which, let's be real, most of us do at least a little bit. But chasing the really big hits is only one way to go about it. And once you've been around long enough, you start to realize how deep the hobby really is. You can collect every version of a single Pokemon, every Pokemon from one generation, or the tried and true master set. You can shoot for all of the IRs and SIRs, or the art of a specific illustrator. It's all fun and it's all completely valid. The key though is just choosing a direction that works for you. So here's what works for me, and it's super easy. Whenever a new card pops up that I think I want, I ask myself one question: is this something I've wanted for a while? Because over time, our brains learn what we actually love versus what we just like for about 5 minutes. For example, I've always loved sets of 9 or 18 cards. Sets that fill a binder page perfectly. So when the Southern Islands collection was brought to my attention, an 18 card connecting artwork set designed to be displayed in a binder, it was a no-brainer. Even though some of the cards were expensive, they fit perfectly into my long-term collecting goals, and I couldn't be happier with how it turned out. On the other hand, if a card or set doesn't line up with my long-term goals, and it's not been something I've wanted for a while, then I pause. Because more often than not, that initial excitement is just a fleeting feeling. And trust me, in this hobby, those happen all the time. After spending over $300 on Southern Islands, my wallet needed a break. But I still wanted to build out my collection. Right now, I'm still putting together the binder I've been working on since 2025. It's organized mostly in chronological order, based on either when I pulled the cards or bought them. And here's the thing: in terms of value, it is all over the place. Some pages, like my Southern Islands spread, are pretty expensive. They're gorgeous, they're sought after, and it's easy to see why I wanted them here. But right next to that, the exact opposite. A full page of Dodrios and Beedrills from Scarlet and Violet 151. See, about a year ago, I finally convinced my wife to join me in my cardboard obsession. And the set that did it was 151. Now, my wife wasn't a stranger to Pokemon. We were both big into Pokemon Go when it launched, and for a solid 6 years after that. So we already had the shared memories, building 10 Pokemon gyms, driving 30 minutes to an Abra nest. Does anyone else remember when that was a thing? Ugh, good times. So when I showed her the Pikachu, Squirtle, Bulbasaur, and Charmander, all in beautiful IR treatments, that was all it took. We got into 151 before the hobby went totally bananas, and we were actually able to rip a bunch of packs together. But if you remember what I said earlier about my pack opening luck, yeah, let's just say we didn't open too many hits. What we did pull, however, was an infinite number of these: Dodrios and Beedrills. At the time, we were working on a 151 master set, and we had no clue what we were going to do with all of the duplicates. But here they are now, and looking at that page genuinely makes us happy. It brings back instant memories of enjoying the hobby together, and opening pack after pack of Dodrio. All of that to say, not every binder page has to be expensive, sought after, or on brand. Sometimes the pages that mean the most to you mean absolutely nothing to anyone else, and that's part of the fun. So when you're experiencing wallet fatigue, which is almost impossible to avoid in this hobby, take a break from spending. Flip through what you already have, and I promise you'll find something meaningful. If you're anything like me, someone who takes collecting Pokemon cards a little too seriously, then this point might be the most important one of all. Because here's the truth. I probably consume a little too much Pokemon TCG content. Mostly pack openings, but also shop POVs and the occasional market breakdown. And honestly, it can be a bit stressful. I know it sounds ridiculous, but whenever I hear about some sealed product exploding in value, or a single card going to the moon, sometimes I think, well, it would have been cool to own that, but now I never will. So every once in a while, I have to remind myself. This is a hobby and it's meant to be fun, even when things are a little crazy. For me, it's about finding small pockets of enjoyment. Little rituals that make the hobby feel fun again. For example, after talking with a couple of friendly customer service employees, I found out that my local Target gets a Pokemon restock every Wednesday morning. They limit purchases to 1 or 2 items per person. So it's fair, no scalping, no fighting. Just clean, old-fashioned MSRP cardboard. So my wife and I shuffled our schedules around to make that part of our weekly grocery run. And now it's a fun family outing. We get out of the house, grab some groceries, and try to snag a few packs to crack together later. It's become a day we genuinely look forward to. Yes, even Haley. And that's just one way we've managed to inject more fun into the hobby. Another thing I started doing is leaving one of my binders open on my desk. Always turn to a different page each day. Before, they spent most of their time sitting on a shelf. Now I get to enjoy a new or old page every time I walk by. And then there's my one-touch display shelf, which I rotate almost weekly. Right now it's Magic the Gathering, but don't worry, Pokemon will be back soon. Point is, collecting shouldn't be stressful. Sometimes all you need is something small. Something that gives you a moment of joy to remind you why you started collecting in the first place. Now, if you're looking for even more ways to enjoy the hobby, be sure to check out this video next, where I break down the things I do to have as much fun as possible when collecting Pokemon cards. Thanks for watching.